the meeting to order with the first item of business being election of officers for the next 4 months, 5 months, November, December, January, February, 4 months. So, chair, secretary, and treasurer. You're the new guy. Have you had any thoughts or preferences?
I'd like to stay as low key as possible while I really don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, that's fair.
I never believed in the blind leading the blind.
I wouldn't mind being treasurer for a while yet, although it does kind of drive me batty, but, you know, I'm good, you know.
Okay. Well, if you're the blind leading the blind, would you rather be the note taker and secretary? Is that it's either that or chair for you?
No, I can't be chair. I don't think that's
Treasurer.
Yeah.
Do you want me to take them for this meeting?
For this meeting?
Right,
Yeah.
okay. I brought my computer thinking that might happen.
I can take that chair.
I will-
Thank you.
Sure.
Susan, do you want to push your announcement to the other business portion or add an agenda item?
We might as well make it now,
Yeah,
because you're making decisions.
Because that will affect.
I have notified the trustees that I'll be resigning as alternate after the November meeting. I had committed to leading a discussion of our progress on the strategic plan and amending it as appropriate in November, and I'm glad to do that. If the trustees want to put that off for another month, I would come back and do that, and I'll continue to be involved. I just won't be an alternate. It's been almost 3 years, so and I'm overextended. So I want to continue to support the library, but no longer as alternate.
Well, thank you, obviously, for your 3 years of service and leading us through the strategic planning process. You did more than you said you would, so we appreciate you staying longer. And do we have to, as an alternate, do we have to approve or accept her resignation?
You must stay in that position for the rest of your.
Until we figure it out.
I'm not
If you
released.
want to be released, then we have to say, thank you, and we will release you.
You're not getting rid of me. I'm just not going to be in trustee alternate mode. But I'm always going to be in library mode, and Kate supporter mode, and book club coordinator mode, and garden maintenance person mode. So,
And porta potty cleaner?
no,
Okay.
I go before I come.
All right.
Just one item that should go with deciding on who's going to be filling what officer role. Right now, I'm listed on the website as the primary contact from the trustees. I think when I was acting chair before Jeff joined us, Cindy put me there appropriately, but we need to choose who's going to be on the website as the primary trustee contact.
Okay. I can be the contact. That's
Okay,
fine.
so I propose that I email Cindy. She's managing the website, Lee?
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
email Cindy and, give her the news and ask her to list you as the primary trustee contact on the
Okay.
website. So I'll take care of that.
Thank you. To approve last month's minutes is the next item. I think that's what.
So, I must have been out to lunch because I didn't hear. Is Jeff going to be secretary after this meeting? Are you going to chair? I mean, I didn't hear the conclusion of that discussion.
Are you okay being secretary after November's meeting?
I'm really not that wild about getting into stuff before I've even got my feet on the ground. I wasn't really counting on that. I'd like to kind of learn in the
that means that someone would either have to do double duty for a while as you learn the ropes.
If I understand what my state is, I'm temporary until March.
Correct.
I'm not elected to anything. I haven't been chosen for anything. So I would really like to not do anything until March, and then in March, if I decide to run for permanent status, then I'm willing to talk about jobs.
So, I mean, you are appointed to fill a library trustee position, which gives you the authority of a library trustee.
Yeah,
You know, like I said, with that comes, you know, an officer position, because there's only 3 of us.
yeah.
I mean, if you want to wait a couple months to learn a little bit more, that's totally fine. We'll just
would.
find someone
I
to
would.
also take minutes.
Yeah, I don't like jumping into things feet first without really knowing what I'm doing.
Um,
I mean, I've read all the communications and stuff, and I know there's a lot of haggling and bickering going on, but I'm just catching up on it. I don't even know what it's all about yet, really.
Okay. So Susan, you're taking the minutes for October.
It'll be hard for me to do it, I do it until we talk about the strategic plan and then somebody else could take notes then. I mean, I don't mind taking minutes, but
I could probably double dip until you're comfortable, Jeff.
Okay. Well, I would think on the minutes, why couldn't you just report it?
If only state statute were up to date with today's technology, yeah. I believe that is not an option for,
You'd have to type it out.
yeah, you still have to type it out. So,
Well, I see, I don't mind the typing part, but I see that people do a lot of printing here, and my home printing facilities are mill.
yeah, that's okay. I mean, we've got a library printer, one of us can print.
Yeah.
So you also don't have to type, I imagine you probably don't have to type it up, you can handwrite it if you wanted.
Yeah, well, I don't mind doing that part of it.
Okay,
As far as, if somebody else takes the minutes, which I've never done, never used to do it, don't feel comfortable with it. If somebody else takes them and wants to ship them to me to type them up, now that I'm willing to do.
okay. Alright, well we can figure that out at the next month's meeting. Alright, approval of last month's minutes. So Susan, these are your minutes, right?
Yes.
Thank you for typing them. I was not here, so do I hear any corrections or edits?
No?
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
and I'll abstain. It's approved. The next item is the pole barn clean out. So Cindy let me know that she thinks there are some library items in the pole barn that we should clean out. Kate, you responded and said that you think it's maybe 2 or 3 items.
That's last time I checked. Yeah. It was like an oversized foam or something book, and I think it was signs or something.
So are those items that we should keep, or that I should swing by on the way to the dump on Sunday to get rid of?
I don't think we have any use for them. That was. I don't exactly remember the second item, but I remember the thought that yeah, we don't need that.
There is a big pile of stuff under a tarp.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Signs, I think from the library. I'm not sure. But there are signs
Like,
under the tarp.
plywood signs, like painted plywood signs, or?
Paper, plywood. Cause you got the thresher and right in front of that, coming towards the
Okay.
office, there's a tarped cover, some bunch of signs.
Okay.
It's out of the libraries of Falls.
We cleaned our stuff out.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And you went through everything, so these are not things that sound familiar.
You're talking about
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
looking over here. Yeah, we took all of our stuff out, so we all of our signs and our grills and all that garbage.
Okay,
you want
well,
me
if
to
you no
go
one
check-
really cares,
I'll
I'll
go
make the
check- I'll
executive
go check
decision
it.
on Sunday when I
Yeah.
go to the dump. Alright, the next thing
So-
is, oh, sorry,
Just wanna
Susan.
catch this, so you're going to go to the pole barn and, what are you gonna do to resolve the pole barn?
Cleaning it out,
You're gonna
getting
clean
rid
it,
of library stuff.
and your discretion is deciding what to trash.
Yep.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, so we have this budget request that's due on Halloween. Yeah, very scary. And then we're assigned a budget review time slot from 5:05 to 5:25 on the 22nd of November. So maybe we can start there. If is anyone free on the 22nd or anyone not free on the 22nd to present our budget?
It's on my calendar already.
Okay,
What time was that again?
5:05
On what day?
on the November 22nd. So last year, Kate, you and George presented, is that correct? It's probably helpful to have you there, so it'd be great if you can come. Karen, do you feel like you need backup if you're presenting? Okay.
So is this a presentation of the select board or the budget committee?
Is it both, Leaf?
Okay.
Alright. So if we look at the budget spreadsheet, so we know this year that we've had budgetary problem, or we've had, revenue problems. If we look at the amount spent, based on their conversations, are there immediate line items that we know need to be either increased or some that could just stay level funded?
I am going to highly suggest we switch vendors
For porta potties?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, let's talk about it for a long time.
So the new vendor was about twice the,
So I'm going to suggest there's Ron's John's and they'll do a monthly I believe it was $170. They give us a porta potty.
That was my question.
Yes.
okay.
Yay.
They give us a porta potty and they clean it weekly for $170
A month.
a month.
So that does quadruple our bathroom budget. Okay. Heating oil. 2023. I mean, we can expect it to go up. Is there like a percentage the town is using as a percent increase for some of these utilities and?
I have no idea.
Okay.
We just locked into Innovate at a lower price
For the next how many years?
next year.
So that should give us some budget, right? Do you know what that? Okay.
It's $4.38 a gallon.
So I think the biggest question I have is this media subscription. So we had a big question mark about if the town is providing funding, but our checking account does not reflect any sort of town contribution other than what the town pays directly for wages. Did we get an answer about how that money gets deposited from the town into our accounts?
Sorry, what money was that, the interest from,
No, so this is just, we talked last,
Oh,
or
in-
maybe two
in-
meetings ago.
in
that-
general, how the money gets from the town to,
Right, because as of now, the town has just paid our direct expenses and they haven't necessarily like deposited money for other library operations, correct?
right,
Um, So we need to figure out when that happens and how that happens. Does anyone have institutional memory about that? Elena?
They're putting me on the spot. I believe that we used to do it by submitting receipts just like everything else.
Okay.
But that was back in the day, so I don't know if you guys have a different way of doing that now.
Well, and I also have a question, getting back to that MOU, is it finalized? Because
The what?
The MOU
with the
between
town,
the trustees and the selectmen?
right, as to what expenses the town covers.
I don't know.
George never finished it.
Oh my goodness, because in my mind,
The media
let me
never
just,
was
can I
covered
just
by the town.
explain how it seems at present? It might have been different in the day, but at present it seems that with gross basis budgeting, those things that the town isn't paying directly, we would need to cover with the gross basis amount. That's the way I think it's operating right now. And if we don't have an agreement that that part of the budget, media, is covered by the town, I think that needs to be clarified, because I think that's what leaves us in this, in this ambiguous place as to how money might flow for
Right.
things that aren't billed directly to the town.
Wasn't the town, there was conversation about the town offering a budget workshop for all the departments. Is that happening before we present our budgets to the town?
Not that I know of. I think
It
they
doesn't seem very
it got
helpful.
lost in the fusion.
So with that, what I see happening is us presenting a budget that the selectmen have asked us to produce without providing the framework to produce it, and then criticizing us at the budgetary meeting when we don't follow the rules that no one seems to understand. So can we maybe push for a budget 101 workshop before the 22nd of November?
It would be great to have a consolidated way to do it.
Yeah, just
It
have
would
all
be
the other
great.
committees
Just
too.
everybody does it
Yeah.
the same way, so there's no confusion.
When's the next select board meeting? Is
First. Yep. Wait, what's today? Yeah, it'd be the first.
so could I leave that in your lap to put on the selectmen's agenda, and then
Yeah.
okay, that'd be great. I'm wondering if a better use of time would be to kind of do a budget specific meeting before
That's what
Halloween.
we did last year.
Yeah.
Just in this format that you have here, it says gross basis for 2022, and there is 0. Why is that?
That's a good question. It's how it came to me.
See, I think the confusion around that is at the root of so many of our budget and cash flow issues. And, rather than having an argument when we really don't know what the rules are, or how it works, we just need to build together from scratch how we're gonna budget for the library. And for everybody to be operating with the same understanding. That would be my plea.
Yeah.
Not treat it as conflict, treat it as, let's build a clear process that is the way all town departments budget, and we all understand it. And not, because right now, I think we just have felt in limbo for a long time. And everybody wants it to work, all around.
so let's maybe set a date for a budget meeting before Halloween. Is it evening best or is a weekend time best?
Evening, I think. But
Yeah.
Okay. So I could do Tuesday or Thursday next week. Let me just double check. Do you have?
I could do either of those.
Any?
Without looking at my Google Calendar, I can't tell you a thing.
Okay.
But, as far as I know, off the top of my head, they're okay.
Kate?
Is that Tuesday or Thursday?
Yeah, the 25th or the 27th?
I think I could do either.
Okay. Let's say the 25th and get it done sooner, just in case they're.
So this
Complications.
coming Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, the 25th. Can we do 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
Alright, so I will have that posted to the town website. Okay. Do we also want to talk about warrant articles, potential warrant articles at that meeting, or does anyone have thoughts about warrant articles that are also anticipated budgetary expenses related to the budget? It does not
Anticipated?
seem as pressing because the warrant articles are not due for,
Yeah, I think it's probably better to figure it out after you have the
Okay.
budget approved.
alright.
Andrew, did you get the spreadsheet from Sarah?
That's what we're looking at, yeah.
You should have. But I guess we do have a budget workshop in the plans.
Was that in the email and I just totally missed it?
It might have been.
I remember seeing it floating around on the town calendar, I think. But
I can, look.
I don't see it in the first budget email. Yeah, so if we could confirm, and maybe that's just a matter of looking at the town calendar, but it'd be nice to be invited to that. Okay, great. The next one is, a letter to the selectmen, regarding Fogel and online misinformation. So, Leaf, this is gonna involve you as a trigger warning. So Susan and I worked on a draft letter, because we just wanted to get on the record, to set some misinformation straight. So I can read that letter, but we, and then offer suggestions. I don't know, trustees, did you get a chance to look at it and have any thoughts?
I just thought it was the right tone between, assertive and, well, I mean, you made the point clearly and politely, and it was a good letter.
Yeah, I would say our goal is to not add fuel to a fire or to kind of keep to keep anything going, but just really to make sure that we're supporting our friends who have done a lot of work for our library. So I will read that for those of you who haven't seen the letter, which I guess is most of you. Dear Selectmen, the library trustees wish to correct misinformation about the Friends of the Grafton Library shared online by Tom and Leaf on October 5th and 6th this year. In these public posts made to the community groups on Facebook, Tom and Leaf directed residents to donate money directly to the library and not through our Friends group. The comments and posts implied that Fogel uses donations for purposes other than support of the library's mission. This is not true. We recognize that the selectmen have the right to share whatever opinions they have, but maligning a volunteer group that benefits the community is counterproductive. It's especially disheartening to learn of these comments after the library spent years mending divisions ensuing from earlier misunderstandings. Fogel has been an instrumental ally for the trustees since its founding. Thanks to its efforts and volunteerism, our library has benefited from regular townwide mailings, broader community recognition, quality programming, and media purchases. Fogel is also committed to supporting aspects of the library's strategic plan that are not covered by its operating budget, such as addressing its facilities deficits. Twice now, the trustees have voted to pursue a library expansion on the gray lot donated to the town for this express purpose. Fogel has therefore concentrated its efforts on fundraising for that expansion, a task that requires planning and saving. While the trustees recognize that further work is needed to develop more detailed plans and secure necessary approvals, it is our clear intent to work towards creating that new library structure. Therefore, Fogel's decision to save fundraise income for that purpose is appropriate. We would also like to clarify one important point. It is not Fogel's job to replace town funding of library operations. Fogel's purpose is to supplement town funding in order to enrich and expand what the library can offer our community. Budgetary shortfalls are not the responsibility of our friends, but rather the responsibility of the trustees, selectmen, and budget committee working in good faith to provide adequate library services. I can say just personally that I was really disappointed and annoyed seeing those comments online, Leaf.
And I never told anyone not to support Fogel.
We don't have to wordsmith, I think, your posts. I think it was very clear what the intentions were, and it seemed especially mean to do right before Fogel did their main fundraising event for this community. And it did not strike a very good tone for me. And I was just, you're the liaison, you're our bridge between the selectmen and the trustees, and I feel like that just totally broke the trust that we would have had in this relationship.
I'm the liaison for the library, not Fogel.
Correct.
I'm here to help you guys, not.
That does not
Otherwise.
help the library, I would argue, when you do that to our friends group. It creates this whole artificial division between what is not two groups. I mean, it is two groups, but it's one community. And I feel like we've been through this over and over and over again, and it just seems mean. Like, forget all the politics, it just seems mean.
I honestly didn't have any spiteful intentions in that whole post.
You can see why that doesn't sound true, right?
Well, I think we should concentrate on just getting it. I have to believe that that was not your intention.
No, but
So let's just clarify the record without going beyond
80% of the posts that I saw those days thought Fogel gives all their money to the library. And do they?
Nobody said that.
No.
What?
People on Facebook thought Fogel gave all their money to the library.
No, we make it very clear that we support.
Okay, I didn't say Fogel, I said people on Facebook thought you guys gave money, all your money to the library. And I was just clearing that.
I wouldn't say that's true.
I just think they're moving forward. Maybe there are more productive ways to inform the community than what was shared.
I think there is confusion around it. My interest is getting that confusion cleared up so we can move ahead in concert and people understand, just like I would like the community to understand that as long as there's growth spaces budgeting, the budget they vote for in the warrant article doesn't equal the money the library gets. So there's a lot of confusion to clear up. I think that I'm not on Facebook, so I just saw screenshots, but what it felt like, and probably not your intent at all, that there was funny business going on. And I think Fogel has and will continue to support the library, but the MOU states that we will go to Fogel with what we need. And we have gone with the strategic plan, and there's plenty in it that the budget won't cover, and that Fogel responds by providing what the trustees request, if it is their decision to do so. But I think if people think that every dime they give to Fogel goes directly to the library, that's a misconception. And that's what you're saying, you think people think.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, so let's,
Because when you say
without
we're here to
pointing
support
fingers,
the
let's just
library,
be
which
really clear.
you guys may be here to support the library, but people are taking that as you can take the money and give it to the library and support.
Well, we need stuff like insurance,
Yes, I understand. Yes, I
Right.
understand that.
and we need stuff like signs.
I
and
understand what you guys do.
correspondence.
Not everyone in this town understands what you guys do or need.
I would also I know, Susan, you're being very good at being diplomatic. I appreciate that, and yours is genuine. I
I
do-
am
I
sincere
feel like-
in what I'm saying.
I do feel like this is just emblematic of a bigger, a bigger trend, a bigger picture in town where the library group has been singled out by people in leadership positions that do not like individuals in the library community. And I don't see the same level of micromanagement and just vitriol online towards other volunteer groups in town that use town property, that occupy town property. And I want the selectmen to see that double standard. Like, we'll get to the pumpkins in a second, but so I called Sarah, I called the selectmen's clerk and asked for an example of how other groups in town seek approval for use of town buildings and decorations of town property, knowing that the Historical Society is in 3 buildings of town property and the Fire Auxiliary uses town buildings,
You can't bring up
and
the
there was
historical side.
and there was no example that she could provide, which is suspicious to me.
The historical society is its own,
And yet it occupies 3 town buildings.
and yet they have a lease for those town buildings.
And when I asked for, and we have an MOU with our friends group that outlines some of these things, and yet every single detail seems to still be an excuse for the selectmen to spend time on. It amazes me. That's all. It just seems so clear to me that this is an obsession with the selectmen. And it's getting really tiring, and I feel like we're losing volunteers and we're losing library trustees because the selectmen can just not let go. And so when those posts are made publicly, that's what it feeds into. That's what to me, I see that as the impetus. I don't see a friendly reminder to our community that our friends group isn't giving 100% of its proceeds to the library. Do you see where I'm coming from with that?
I see it.
Okay. I don't want this to take up the entire meeting, but I do want to show support to our friends group, and I think it's like Susan said, it's important to remind and to set the record straight. I cannot do it in as gentle or a sincere manner as others can, but I will try.
Well, you're sincere, you're just. Personality is your own. I mean, you're more fired up, so that's fine. You're sincere.
Yeah. Jeff, we're throwing you into this. This is probably exciting for you. But I would like to send some letter to the selectmen so that it's on the record in the select board's meeting as well. Having reviewed this letter, do you feel like it strikes the right tone? Do you feel like there should be edits made? Jeff, are you comfortable with
I read it
this?
earlier today, yeah, it seems alright.
Yeah, it's fine as it is.
I will send this to the selectmen then. Leaf, did you want anything else? Did you want to add anything to that, or?
It just seems like the library trustees seem to be favoring Fogel over over their own library. So my question is, whose board of trustees are you on? The libraries or Fogel's?
Can you explain that a little more? Like, how are we expending more energy with
Everything that's been going on, the sign, I've asked this question multiple times. Who's designing the sign? Why is not the librarians doing the sign? Since they're the ones in this building all more than any of us.
Why isn't the librarian doing the sign?
Not designing it, doing the whole design, and giving Fogel the design and saying this is what we want.
Is that something that I feel like that's a
Has anyone
A
even
skill
asked,
set.
has anyone even asked the librarians what they want?
I was at the meeting when we were discussing designs, but
my understanding?
I mean,
So
it's
Fogel is
standard
present to set the Fogel is providing examples and options for signs that then we will discuss and approve. It's not like Fogel is purchasing a sign for us with
Okay.
no public input and then having it constructed. Elena, do you want to speak to the sign?
Yeah, well, what we had agreed on, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what we had agreed on was that we would provide a few examples and that you guys could then mock them up and kind of say, oh, well, we want an arrow here and we want the address here, and then we'd go back and it would be kind of an iterative process, but it was really just to take some of the labor off of the trustees.
That's what I meant by division of labor.
Yeah.
And
So it
also,
wasn't-
Focalis has demonstrated how creative it is and what it comes up with, and I understood the design to be the purview of the trustees, but we were saying, thank you for coming up with some ideas
Some-
for us,
some
and
thoughts.
I assumed, Kate, that you'd be in on the conversation
Yeah.
from the get-go.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you got three other librarians too that should have a say in what
well, sure.
it says. It's not every time. Last 5 minutes all I heard is trustees, trustees, trustees. I asked, has anyone asked the librarians if they would like to put input in?
I'd say we just haven't gotten there because the designs have not been readied or presented.
Okay.
Nobody's been excluded, I would say, or it just was a matter of delegating to get the ball rolling, and there's been some hiccups in the process, but no decisions have been made and nobody has been excluded, to my understanding. So,
Okay, I'll ask it again. Has anyone asked the librarians if they would like to make their own design? Just bring and show. It gives them a
Caitlin,
choice.
could you please ask your staff if they have design experience and interest with the sign?
We can
Great.
bring it up.
You don't
at the
need
next
experience,
staff
just
meeting.
need to see what they want.
Okay.
If
Thank
they bring their own design, maybe y'all can get together, combine everything. Don't just bring 3 designs, says, here. Can you make changes to all these? Or any of these?
of course,
Then they'll bring their own, and maybe you can combine everything together so you know. It's not a 12-year process to do a sign.
no.
Let's move on to library business. Approval of the treasurer's report.
This is the budget versus actual and the transaction details. Oh, well, I seem to be a little short on those.
I don't need it.
Oh, thank you. We got the usual unimpressive interest and, you know, on the accounts. And on October 3rd, finally, the interest from the Barney Flanders and Ruth Leonard accounts I put into the trustees account in the amount of about $360. And I was thinking, then I immediately put it in the director's account, but since we're gonna use it towards the, what do you call that? Not virtual books,
Overdrive or
overdrive.
ebooks, yeah.
I thought it might as well stay in the trustees fund so we can write a check.
Yep.
Okay. I have a quarterly report, if anybody is interested, which I'm sure they are. Somewhere here, sorry, I've got too many papers.
So, just for the minutes, so those funds are in the trustee account now? I'm sorry, I just didn't
Oh, what was
hear
that?
you.
Oh, the,
Those funds that we're going to use for overdrive are in the trustee account now?
yeah, $360.77.
It's 363.07,
No, 360, sorry,
okay.
and 77
Oh,
cents.
77, got it.
Yeah. And I'll have the quarterly report as I find it. Which I just put in here. All right, well, I'll come back to that. Leaf, did the town receive a check from a Carl Andreessen of Kentucky?
I'd have to ask Sarah.
Because my uncle donated $1,000 to the library, but he made it out to Town of Grafton Library Fund. And I thought he was sending it to me, but apparently he sent it to the Town of Grafton 3 weeks ago.
Never to be seen.
And that is to be used only for anything we want it to be used for.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you, Uncle.
Thank you.
I will thank him. I talked up the library, and the next thing I knew, he said,
That's
oh, I'll give you
Does he need
$1,000.
a thank you note?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Right.
Um,
I'll get his address from you.
okay, hopefully we can, hopefully the letter, the correspondence, the check will show up somewhere appropriate. Would Sarah
Did
have
he-
gotten it and not mention it?
Did he address it to the library or to the town of Grafton?
Town of Grafton, I think.
Sarah hasn't gotten one yet.
Oh, no.
It hasn't come into the PO box, so.
Oh, well, I'll see what I can learn.
Is that Virginia?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Shit,
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we don't know where it is. Okay.
I hope it
Well,
shows
we'll
up.
find out. Do
Okay.
we need to accept that? Or do we wait
Well,
till
we
it
could
comes?
wait till it
Yeah,
shows up in case.
of course.
So we need to sign, the receipts and,
Yeah, do we wanna, do I hear a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Yes, I know.
I'll second.
okay, and before you go, I have a quarterly report for you, for everybody. luggage tags?
Yeah, they're attached to flash drives,
Oh, okay,
so we can have barcodes on them and transact them.
okay.
And the small envelopes are for the seed library.
For the what?
For the seed library.
Okay. Well, I accidentally wrote my whole name instead of initialing, but, it's the 20th today?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
And Dollar General, about $12 for some, DVDs.
So Jeff, we typically, I don't know why we do this, but we sign off on every receipt and invoice that's been coming through the library.
While you're signing, could I ask a question? Karen, when I look at this budget versus actual, I see the same difficulty raising its head that we experienced last time through the budgeting process, because it looks like we're underspending.
Right.
And it's because much what we spend does not go through the town. And then there's the whole issue of gross basis budgeting. So I just wanted to point out that we should be aware of that.
Yeah, we should have
to the
some
process to be able to explain why this doesn't paint an accurate picture.
And I had a note in my director's report, but I think it. So the town just put out a new accounting policies procedure manual, and so Karen, you have that, but they need to have it signed off on.
By
So it has to
every-
be reviewed and signed.
By every trustee, I mean, all the trustees,
That,
or just,
yeah,
oh, do you have a copy of
it might
that?
just be one.
Oh, like the supervisors of the checklist, we have the.
This is
Oh,
part
we
of
didn't
the
do it and
audit
sign off on it.
results or
Yeah.
the audit suggestions.
I haven't read it yet, but I will, and then but you don't have, do you have a copy of it?
I don't have a
I
copy.
have, yeah,
Is it, if it's lengthy, we could read it and then sign off at the budget meeting?
It is it's very lengthy, I don't
Yeah.
think you wanna,
Yeah. So there's a digital copy somewhere.
I had gotten that from Sarah, and I had gotten a copy for Karen too.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a digital copy.
Okay.
She had said that cause I asked her what changes are made, and she said it was just, discerning what was done by what positions at the office over there, and then also timeline of submitting the budgets,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
so we could give Jeff a,
So
Copy that.
yeah, so Jeff, you can have a copy, and then I'll look at your copy, and then we can,
okay,
so read it, have it read, and by Tuesday,
And then, yeah,
the 25th.
Karen has a sign-off sheet.
Okay.
I have more.
And I have a few things too.
Okay. I see we've gotten a $50 donation from Daniel Moore. And
50 from what?
from Daniel Moore, can I can say who it's from, right?
Sure.
Or is it confidential? And Rebecca Huntoon of Danbury purchased Isinglass timber and wool book. And there's a check for $35.
I think that
So
goes to the
that
That
town.
goes to the town.
Yeah, so I just didn't know if you guys need to see that first, or, yeah, okay.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know either.
The
So
town
you just give it to
published
Ken?
I'll
the
just give
book,
it-
so the money
Okay.
is for the history will go to the town.
I'll just give it to Ken.
Yeah, right.
No,
So you can look at that and then we'll give
Yeah,
it
so Kate,
to
you get
Lee,
this.
right?
Yeah,
Or-
I'll get it to Sarah right
And,
Yeah.
do we
I can write a thank you note to Dan Moore.
accept his donation?
And as far as I know, he didn't put any limitations or suggestions or anything on that, so.
No.
Alright, do I hear a motion to approve all, donations? And,
Are there any in your?
yeah, are there any media donations that we have to include in that?
I don't know, this is
Okay,
the
alright.
difference, like, it's.
I know, the order is out of whack.
Yeah. 39,
Yeah, I approve it.